Welcome everyone to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and normally with the amazing Andrew Bartzis, but today he is not here. So the Galactic Historian is not in the show today. He is preparing for the big event this weekend. So he is busy doing his prep work and his meditations and all things galactic that one needs to do to prepare for an event like this. So I would also like to thank Laura Lee for taking the show yesterday, charting your course while we were in preparations. I myself am also in Seattle getting ready for all of this. So that was wonderful. I hear that the show was absolutely amazing. So this Sunday, she will also be continuing on the show that she had started yesterday. So all of you that were totally mesmerized with what she had to say yesterday, second part, I suppose I could say, will be on Sunday at Charting Your Course Studio B. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what's going on, Andrew is hosting a big event this weekend, Living the Mystical Life Daily. Very exciting stuff where he'll be teaching all sorts of things. Absolutely amazing. I've been listening to him prepare and blown away, absolutely blown away. And during this event, I will also be there. If you want private sessions, I'm also available in sometimes. So for that, please contact Tanoch at galactichistorian.com. That's TENOCH at galactichistorian.com. And if you'd like to learn more about me, my website is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. And that's Kathy with a K. Debbie Smart will also be at this event, so it's a great time to connect with her if you'd like to speak to her. Her website is innerdimensionhypnotherapy.net if you would like to learn more about Debbie. Absolutely amazing woman, very, very interesting, and her insights are just absolutely amazing. So today we will get straight into the calls for now. One other thing is I'd like to thank everyone for all the healing and prayers they've been sending everyone in our team. We're all working very hard, ups and downs for all of us. So we're all good. Thank you so much for all your good thoughts. Thank you for all the healings and prayers that you've sent. If you would like to continue with that, that would be absolutely awesome. I really am very grateful for all the support we've had over that. All right, on to our first call. 707. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Kathy. My name is Amaranta. I'm calling from California.
Oh, Amaranta. What an unusual name. I like it. What can we look at for you today?
So I guess first and foremost, I look forward to hopefully meeting you as long as things line up for me. I'm still trying to figure out how I might make it next weekend, but hopefully things will manifest between now and then.
Oh, that would be amazing. Amazing. I look forward to hopefully meeting you too.
Thank you. So I'm starting to have more of an upswing in my life, which is nice, and things are falling into place. I've gotten a new dog, and I've also kind of shifted things. I went from one room in my house to a different room. And so new job, I'm working at a school with children right now. Mm-hmm. And this morning I encountered one where we were playing a drawing game where we would fold the paper in half and we would hide one half from the other. We would take turns, like I would draw the head of something and she would draw the body of something. And so every time I would draw the head and then she would draw the body without looking at the head that I had just drawn, it would sort of match up. Like we both drew a cow, we both drew a unicorn. So
wow.
I just wanted to hear your feedback on kind of working with kids and what you feel with me as far as if I'm in the right place and things like that.
Okay. Peter, can you please mute? You were getting a bit of background noise from you. Thank you. When I look at you and what you've been doing, I really like it. I think it's very awesome. You have a very strong connection with kids. And I think the fact that you can even tune into them on this kind of level is really, really good because it's a skill. I mean, because it comes kind of easy and naturally to you, I think in a way you discount it. I think you kind of recognize it, but you don't sort of see the significance of it. So I think continue with what you're doing, because you innately will know what attracts these kids, what will draw them out, and how to make them blossom. So I like what you've been doing. I think with the work that you're doing, you will find that you get busier and busier, and you'll start to have to say to yourself, what am I going to choose to do and what am I going to choose not to do? Because you're only one person. So you have to remember that you can only do so much. And for you, because you're such a giving person, you'll be like, oh no, but I can do this, I can do that, and soon enough you'll have too much on your plate. And to do it all means that you stretch yourself thin and you can't give the same energy that you wanted for each individual. So if you can sort of, even though it's going well and the busier you get, if you can be more strict with yourself and say, I can only do so much, I can only work with so many, I can only allocate this amount of time per time, that would be much more effective for you and the kid involved.
Okay, that makes sense.
I also think that what you're doing with them is very innovative. I think, how can I put this? In a way, some parts of what you're doing are not new, but other parts of it, the more, and I don't want to say spiritual aspects, but the more knowingness, I guess, you have with these kids is kind of new. So one of the things I would do for you is probably suggest, don't really explain too much of how you get from A to B. Just how can I put this? If people are saying you're having so much success, what do you do? Don't actually give them your thought process. Don't actually tell them, because it is beyond their comprehension how you get from A to B. So if you could just sort of gloss over how you do it, and you just do it, and it's a technique that you had picked up when you were young, because in a sense that is true, because you've had this innate ability and tapped into it since you were young. It doesn't really matter where you found it from their point of view, but if you explain too much, it'll get you'll start to run into people getting intimidated from your logic, should I say. Does that make sense?
So are you speaking in regards to don't explain too much about the activity, or don't explain too much about the spiritual side that comes out?
Don't explain too much about how you get from A to B. So the actual activity is fine. But if they say, well, what made you think to do this? Rather than say, well, I saw it in my dream time, or I saw it in my meditation, you can say it's a technique that I've picked up over the years since I was young, and I've just honed it in. Because technically that is true, but it's simple enough for them to understand, because they don't need to know the rest.
Okay.
Because your inclination will be to explain more. And I think once you explain more, you'll lose them. Like, they'll be like, huh? What? And then they'll start to view it a bit differently.
Okay. No, that's good.
Yeah. Think of it more like they're just simple, more closed mind people. They can't understand some of what you're saying, so don't complicate it for them.
Cool. Okay. Good advice. Keep it simple. My next question is, I don't know if you could see why, but I've seen a white horse every day since I got back from New York. I went to New York to give a love romance situation a test, and it didn't work out, but I still had a lot of growth out there. But I did get sick. And so when I came back, I've seen a white horse every day, whether this morning the white horse was at a new school right on the wall. It was a kid's drawing. So it'll appear in different ways every day, but it's always there.
Okay, let's cut this up to a few little segments. The relationship that you were giving a try to, I would say, to me, when I look at anything you were involved with, it really, it looked pretty, it looked nice, but essentially there's not enough substance there for you. Harsh words, I know, but over time you will see that what you're looking for and what was on offer really were not the same things. And often in love relationships, this is what happens. So I would say don't feel sad about it. Feel good that you gave it a try, but it's really not something that could have lasted you a long time. And you've got other stuff to do. You've got other people to meet, other people interested in you. So you're going to allow yourself to grow more and have newer experiences, which will be more fulfilling. But with every relationship, when you try something and it's kind of doesn't pan out, there is a lot of self-judgment and questions. Should I have tried harder? Should I have done this? Should I have moved? Etc. I'd say don't torture yourself with anything like that. All you need to know is that you gave it a try. It really wasn't what's going to sustain you long over time. So there are plenty of other people out there that are willing and capable of offering you more of what is going to fulfill you. So it was a nice experience. Just move on,
Yeah, good advice.
And when I look at what's coming up for you, I would say in so many ways you are so ready for such a big relationship. But at the other side, I question whether you have time to invest in a relationship. So you may find over the next few months, let's say for the rest of the year, there will be some interesting ones, but you can already tell that they will take you more time. I mean, personal time. And although it seems harsh and callous to be judging relationships in terms of time, the reality is if you can't put the time into a relationship, you're really kind of wasting their time and your time. And then in the end, you both don't get the fulfillment. So don't judge yourself too harshly if that's how you're going to look at it. When I look at what's coming up, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
So when I look at what's coming up for you, I would say probably middle of next year, I think you're going to encounter someone who is absolutely wonderful for you, suits your lifestyle, is fulfilling for you because you get to be everything you. To a point where I question whether or not he gets everything he needs, but as long as he's happy, that works. So that for me is when your next big relationship possibility comes up. So from someone like my point of view, anything you do between now and then, in a sense, is irrelevant. I mean, of course, it's relevant for you and what goes on, but in terms of your big picture, it doesn't make a huge difference. So don't worry about whether you, like, how can I put this? So if you come up in between this time and say, oh, he's quite nice, but, do I have time? It's like, it doesn't matter. You yourself know you probably will not keep this a long-term thing, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy something. Not all relationships have to end with a big thing. Some are just, a nice on the journey for both of you.
Yes, I just had a nice on the journey one that just wrapped up like a couple of days ago. And he was like, we could tell, I think he was like a big soulmate. And I was trying to kind of open his eyes to spirituality, and he's still skeptical. But one thing that was weird is this woman came up to him at work saying like, oh, the woman you've been seeing isn't good for you. And almost like the psychic lady walks up to him and starts like talking to him about me. It was so weird. But that's just wrapped up. Yeah.
You got to question what's going on there, right?
Yeah. What's that about? He didn't know what to make of it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, everyone's on their own journey, their own path. That's for him to sort out, right?
Exactly.
But an interesting experience for you nonetheless. To address the horse issue, to me, a lot of it is about good things are coming. Often when you see white horses, and not necessarily unicorn, but anything that we call a white horse, it's like a sign of good things to come, And when I look at what's going on for you, you've got some great things coming up for you. And so I hate to use the word omen but I can't think of a better word right now. But it's like the universe is telling you, hello, welcome. You're coming into great time. Enjoy. And in case you're not getting it, here I am again. Oh, you didn't get it again? Here I am.
Yes.
I'm with you. Things are good. Have confidence. Be happy. This is what it's about.
Yes, I was doubting the new job, and then when I started seeing the white horses there, I was like, okay, they're telling me just to relax and trust. So I'm like, okay, I'll trust.
And also that it's with you. Good things are with you. I look at you as a being, and you've got so much white, powerful, bright energy around you that's always emanating, and you're almost shooting it out of your head, to poorly kind of graphically describe what it is. But if you can imagine you were channeling a moonbeam through your head, that's kind of what it looks like to me. And anyone who's in this kind of energy always has great things happen for them. And you'll find a lot of weird synchronicity.
What, mother?
Weird. Caller
On it right now.
352, can you please mute? That wasn't me.
Your voice changed.
Yeah. I wasn't journaling something.
Exactly.
And you will find that, good things happen, like synchronicities happen. You'll think, oh, what a coincidence, but it's not. It's all synchronized. Things are going on. But it's also a way of the universal energy, let's call it, letting you know, I'm with you. Have confidence. Be happy. Be fulfilled. Don't have doubt. Because some of the things that you're going to be doing, you will find a challenge, but, you're doing good. I'm with you. And that's a wonderful thing to know. When you're actually getting these signs, and some people call them good omens, it's really comforting, because often you're doing things where you're wondering how it's going to affect other people, if it's going to have terrible effects for you. And when you see these, it's really showing you, be confident, be comforted. I'm with you. It's good.
Okay, beautiful. Very nice. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you up north. Do you see me manifesting this trip? Is it going to happen?
I think you have to try harder. You have to not be afraid to ask. So whatever it is and whatever you're contemplating, you've got to pipe up. If you don't pipe up, you won't get what you want. And what I mean also by that is you find it very difficult to ask for things, to actually say the words out loud. You might think you want to do it, and you go to do it, but you don't actually say the words. You've got to say the words, because people are much more receptive than you think. They won't judge you like you think they're going to judge you, but you have to ask for it.
Okay.
So have that confidence, speak up, be determined, visualize it, and you can make it happen. But you have to speak up.
Okay. I understand what you're referring to. I will do that. Thank you so much.
So I will know if you speak up or not, because if I see you, I know you've spoken up.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Challenge accepted, Kathy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for calling. It's been great to talk to you. I look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Kathy. Likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, what an interesting call. Everyone is facing so many challenges every day. And, some of it, you're just like, you're going through A to B, those motions, and you're just not sure how to get there, or if you're going through the right way. Sometimes it really helps just to connect with someone else and just see what they see, so that you can get that validation. If you don't have that possibility, then often what you need to do is you do that deep grounding meditation, and you go within yourself and you look at the situation, and then you look at what you would consider a backup plan. If you're really concentrating and focusing on that, and you can come up with 2 backup plans, then you're on the right path, because you're focused enough, you're grounded enough to know that you're ready, that if something were to happen, you have a plan. And if you can't come up with a backup plan, that's when you need to start to consider, how well am I going with this? How well thought through is it? Have I not covered all the bases? Maybe that's what I'm missing. All right, so we're on to our next caller. Let's see. We have Peter. Peter, are you there?
Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm good. I love your laugh.
And where are you calling from, Peter?
I'm calling from Ireland.
Oh, Ireland. Lovely. Great accent.
Thank you.
What would you like to talk about today?
Right, I'm not sure if you can help me or not, but I've been using Andrew's techniques for scanning the blood and protecting when I'm on my spiritual journey. And I've been using the skeleton one where you empower your blood, your new blood in the bone marrow. And I seem to be attracted to, how would I say, the Hindu type techniques, and I've been using tarpanam, which is, the offering of rice and sesame seeds through the ancestors to help with their karma and to release them from any, to release them. So I'm just wondering if you see, is that the right, I'm wondering, is that the right path to be going down?
Right. So it's more like, is this a technique that suits you? Is that what you're
But
calling?
I'm just I'm wondering if I'm doing good for my ancestors, or the generations of ancestors. Am I doing the right thing by them, or is the energy a bit iffy? Is that the wrong road to be going?
Oh, okay. I get you. No, you know what? I really like what you're doing. I think
Right.
that what you're doing is really connecting with you and ancestor energy. I think the fact that you've chosen this type, to me, looks like the ancestors would be very happy, very flattered, because you've taken the time to actually understand why you're doing it, which not everyone does. And for you and your lineage, I think this is a very appropriate way to do it. One of the things that I would say also is, do you burn incense while you do this?
No.
Well,
No.
that's one thing I would add to it.
Right.
Something.
Is there a certain type?
I'm thinking sandalwood, or a sandalwood mixture. If you can't get just sandalwood, whatever sandalwood mixture you can get is good. So you either get the incense sticks or the cones that you burn. Either is good. And even if it's, from a different thing, like say you can't get hold of ones that the Indian tradition would use, if you use ones that are used for Chinese tradition or American Indian, that's also fine. It's the actual stick, the incense, and the sandalwood burning that is what is the important part of it.
Okay.
But I think when you do that, you will actually physically feel that extra bit that coming. It's almost like you're going to feel like you've had a not jet fuel, like, when you get up in a plane and you feel that kind of G-force when you take off.
Yes.
That's how you're going to feel when that incense takes over. You're going to feel that massive force kind of descend upon you, or be around you, let's call it. I mean, don't be frightened or anything if this happens, because that is just you're tapping into that energy, and bang, you're open. It's like you're turning on the tap. And once you've turned it on, you will feel that connection. I won't even need to describe it to you, because you'll already know it. And when you do that, you will also find that you suddenly get all this download of info. You will just know things that there's no way you could have known.
Okay.
And not just with your ancestral lineage, just stuff in general. And whether it's this world, off-world, this generation, 1,000 years ago, whatever it is, when you get that info, so many things will make sense for you. And you will a little bit start to question why you have this information, but it's time. It's time for that. All right, we've got the music coming up. Can you just hold on, Peter, and we'll come back to this after? Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma. Normally, Andrew Bartzis, the galactic historian, would be here too, but he won't be here today because he is preparing for his event this weekend, which is Living the Mystical Life Daily. And I heard some of the stuff, absolutely amazing. And just to let you know, for those of you that are coming, Friday is the registration from 5 to 7 p.m. and 8:30 to 9:45 also on Saturday. And the event will be 10 to 6 with a break from 1 to 3 on the Saturday. And Sunday It's from 10 to 4 with a break from 12 to 2. And for those of you that are coming, it'll be great to see you. I will also be there. If you want to get a session with me while you're there, you can contact Tenoch. That's TENOCH at galactichistorian.com. And also, Debbie Smart will be there, so you'll finally get to meet Debbie Smart if you haven't met her yet. Awesome lady, very, very interesting. And if you'd like to learn more about her website is innerdimensionhypnotherapy.net. And if you'd like to learn more about me, my website is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. And that's Kathy with a K. So, Peter, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so to continue, I think you're going to find that there's a lot of information that you're going to be accessing and just be, let's call it, downloading. And because it's going to be, some of it is old, some of it is current, some of it is things to come, you're going to have a time where you're a bit, I'm not sure, am I imagining it? Is this just my, my hope, and getting mixed up? Because I see you being not confused, but almost a lot of self-doubt will start to come, because there really is too much information for one person at one time. I mean, but that's the way it happens. But when it does happen, it's, I can remember when I sort of suddenly could see a lot more than I used to. And you're like, what? What was in my tea? Did I eat a bad egg? Am I imagining it? Because some of the stuff it seems off the wall. But what I'd say to you is just start writing it down. If it's too much to write down, then just tape it. Just talk and tape. Because later on you can go back to it. And if it doesn't make sense to you at the time, just doesn't matter. Just let it sit there, because it will come over the next few months that you will start to understand it more. Okay. Don't be daunted, I guess, is my overall message.
And like I'm doing, like this guru now, he does a lot of he works with sound, and like stream and all those. He has he knows how it works in the brain and how it reacts in the brain itself. So I'm just wondering, whenever I do those, I get a lot of feedback from my third eye, a lot of tingling, a lot of energy in my head. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, is that a good energy? Is that a good?
Yes, it is. It is. It's because especially with a lot of sound, what it does is it doesn't so much alter our frequency as it wakes it up. So the tingling you're feeling is that there are certain centers in you that are waking up, that they're not necessarily being dormant, but it's like if you can imagine me ringing a bell right in front of your face, you're going to react to it. That's the imagery I want you to think of. It's that sometimes when the tingling comes, it's kind of that violent, like, whoa, what? Get out of my face. I don't feel comfortable. But it's just, think of it more like this. You're just waking up certain senses within yourself, and you're waking up certain cellular things within you. And the cellular things actually are a great thing, because what they do when they start waking up is they start really working, almost overtime. And you'll find that your energy levels go up, your overall health improves, often even vision starts to improve. Your brain is just like, on fire, to the point where you're like, I might need to take something to sleep, that's how you'll think. And that's all normal. That's all fine. And as these things waken up and settle down, it will calm down a bit more within your body in terms of your own experience of it. But it's nothing at all that you need to worry about. I think it's great. It's great to have those kind of things waking up, because it's also signaling to you your body's ready for it.
Okay. And could I ask you, like I have some medical problems, and my stomach or my intestines really down my colon, I think, and psoriasis. I'm just wondering, can you see anything that could help me, or can you see any energy that could help me, or is it improving? Or
okay, when I look at you and your body, to me it looks like you've actually done a lot of stuff already, right? You must have already done things for, let's call it, detox, cleanse, push things out.
I've done kinesiology and stuff like that as well.
On a maintenance level, I would say one of the things you need to consider is psyllium husks. Do you take them on a regular basis?
No.
Okay. To put it very simply, what psyllium husks do is they come in a powder form, and you kind of every day you just take a teaspoon or a bigger spoon, depending on what you think is right for you, and then you mix it in water and then you drink it. And by the time it starts to settle, it becomes a bit jelly-like. So you don't leave it in the glass too long, or it's harder to drink. And it kind of goes in, and think of it more like it's kind of works like a roughage thing. It goes through your system, and it's, like gentle natural sandpapery kind of thing, and it goes through all your intestines and colon and all the niggly things that should be able to help start, let's just call it sandpaper them off and excrete them. And you can buy these usually at least in a health food store, not necessarily a supermarket. But one of these things you have to think about also is budget, because once you start all this stuff, it gets expensive. So if it is very expensive where you are, then I would say, they have store-bought products like supermarkets where they sell things they call Metamucil, and they, they've got other stuff in it as well. But that's something that you can start with just to get going, to see how you like the effect of it.
Okay. Yeah, I have it. I know. We have it here actually in the health shop, so I can get that fairly easily.
Right.
Easily.
And that's something that you can do in your daily regime, which over time will really make a difference. And it will help you cleanse out things. It's not as intense as a colonic or a detox, for example, but it's a daily regime that you can maintain. When I look at what's going on for you, to me, it's like you've got too much toxins in your body. Do you find that you sometimes have a lot of energy and then suddenly you're really exhausted and you almost have back pain? Neck pain, back pain?
Yes, I know that I would have a lot of energy sometimes, and then I'd be slumped in the evenings especially. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Because to me, it looks like your adrenals are working overtime. So whenever they work overtime, you always have highs, where you got lots of energy, but then when you come down, because they're tired, exhausted, then you're like, whoa, even sitting on the sofa is exhausting.
Yes.
So one of the basic things you can do for that is take electrolytes, because that will help you balance out. It will help your body access the energy it needs without overdoing the adrenals. And same thing, you can buy powder, or you can get it in products called like Emergency. There are drinks that have electrolytes in them, but then of course you've got a lot of sugar, which is, again, look at your budget and what's accessible to you. But often when you know what's going on, it's easier, more easy to control it, to suit yourself, because the awareness of what's going on really can help you monitor how you're going to do things during the day. Okay. Another thing is, are you eating, I don't know, is it like, to me it's like you don't eat a lot of meat, but you eat some meat, right?
I just eat chicken. It's chicken.
Chicken? Where does this chicken come from? Do you know?
The chicken comes from, I'm not sure. I think it's Irish, as far as I know.
Right. Well, yeah, because I'll tell you what, to me, this is what I see. It looks like you eat meat, but not a lot of meat. But the meat that you're eating, I don't think it's really as clean of stuff, let's call it.
Right.
So wherever you're getting it from, I would say, why don't you see if you can find a different source? Because I think whatever you're eating, it has some toxin potential in it. Like for example, I'll just make this up now. Like, sometimes you go to a supermarket and there's like chicken here, chicken there, but one it looks lovely and juicy and wonderful. But the truth is it's all full of water, GMO, hormones, whatever it is. And the other one that looks really skimpy is actually better for you, but it's not going to be as filling because it's like a quarter of the size for the same price. What I'd say is look for meat sources that you are more convinced it comes from a natural source, because your system cannot tolerate too much chemicals. Those kind of chemicals anyway. So that's one source, I think, that's sort of, I'm not going to say polluting you, but, is not helping. Your system has to work harder. I prefer it if you took more on the fish side,
I've
seafood,
never,
fish
I've
side.
never, I've never really liked seafood. You see, I can't. I never ate seafood or fish or anything ever in my life. So I'm
It's,
not really attracted to eat it. You see, that's the thing. I don't really like it.
is it the smell of it you don't like, the
Yeah,
texture?
yeah. It's the texture of it. Yeah, I don't
What
know. It's the smell
about
and texture.
would would you consider trying something like that, but like put it in a curry so it's all chopped
Yes,
up?
yes, I could.
And if you can't go for a real, fresh fish, then why don't you start off first with something like tuna fish?
Oh yeah.
You know, take baby steps and explore. Because often people that really are, that don't like fish, for example, or shrimp, it's not about the allergy, it's about the taste of it and the smell and the texture. So often, the way you prepare it makes a big difference. So usually, if you put things in curry, the taste and the smell is removed from that equation, because then you've got all the spices and herbs and whatnot. And then just explore. I'd say
Yeah.
explore what you can, because that would do you better overall for your health and what you're
Yeah.
experiencing. If you can find replacements for what you're eating, you're consuming right now, that suit you, you will find things actually do improve a lot. So let's say, for example, you're taking a lot of salad, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can only take so much salad without it starting to become mundane. So
Yes.
be more experimental, go to the internet, look up weird and interesting recipes that you never would have tried, that are easy to find all the ingredients, for example, in a supermarket. And
Right.
the more that you explore that range of things, the more your taste will start to change, because you're adapting to new things through trial and error. And when you can do this, you will find that by default, your system starts to improve, because it's a lot of it is about what you're consuming, and your body's sort of like, let's say, to put it just simply put, let's like, that's not what I
Mm.
need. But,
Okay.
you know, so think of it
Right.
more for you in terms of exploration,
Right.
right? Because
And is that
if
the same for? Would that be the same for the psoriasis then? Is that all linked, or is that a different? Is that
the
a
what,
different
sorry?
situation? My psoriasis. I have psoriasis as well.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Just in one part.
To me, part of that is going to be related to what you're eating, okay? But
Okay.
that's not the whole thing. I mean, that's a whole different ball game altogether. One of the things that you can really do that I think is going to make a difference to you is when you're doing your bathing routine, is you have to spend more time on moisturizing.
Hmm.
I know that sounds weird and not logical because it doesn't address the issue, but for you, you'll find that when your skin is more comfortable with itself, it will calm down. Think of it like this: your skin, for you, each little skin cell is a person, let's say. And if that person is all happy or moisturized up, then they just relax and go to sleep. If they're like dry and irritated and don't get enough sleep, then they're like, oh, I'm not happy. So then
Right.
they're active.
Right.
I know I'm very simplifying it, but this is the way I want you to think of it. I don't want you to think of it in very big terms anymore. I want you to address it like every little cell in your body is a teeny person. Because the more that you can think of it like that and address it like that, the easier you will find that you can deal with these things and your body would react well. You're at a
Okay.
stage in your life where your energy is really waking up. You're about to be, have all this stuff come in once you start going with the sandalwood incense and everything. So you're at that point where now you have to address things in a different way. Think of it as yourself as a whole series of mini yous in one body. How do you make the mini yous happy and
Right.
content? I'm almost saying treat your body like a kid.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
saying
Let's
trick
go.
it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
treat it like this. The more that you can change the way you perceive it, your
Yes.
own powerful self healing will take over, because you're waking it up and it will work for you. But you have to treat it as this kind of loads of beings as opposed to you yourself, the whole, right now.
Okay, Kathy. Yeah, thank you. And
That's
sorry,
really,
before we go,
I
I
don't
know
think I've ever
before.
told anyone that, but that's how I'm seeing it.
Okay, I see. I haven't thought of it like that, so I'll think of it like that.
Okay, what was your other
Okay,
thing?
sorry, there's just one more thing. You know, how do I say, money wise and stuff like that. Can you see anything change in my down the line? Because at the moment I'm very tight with money, and it's I'm just wondering, is there a job change or is there anything coming down the line that could help
When I
me? Or
when I look at what's going on for you and money and work, I would say, let's put it like this.
yeah,
You need to pike up. You need to ask for what you want. There are bettering of circumstances available to you. That means there are better things there, but you have to say, I want it. Phone up. There's that job available. You should give it to me because of blah 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 blah. Think pushy, think proactive. You
right,
have to go and fight for it. But if you do, you will get it. If you don't, it will pass you by. When I look at
okay,
what's going on for you now, you are too docile over this. You're hoping. Hoping is not enough. You have to take action. This particular time for you over the next year, a lot of it is going to be about you need to take action. You need to show people how good you are and why you're worth it, and don't take no for an answer. Use this kind of attitude, this kind of technique, and you will get it.
right, okay,
It
and
won't come naturally to you though, so you better practice in front of the mirror.
okay,
No, I'm
okay,
serious. It's like,
but
I look at you and your energy, and you're very, you're a lovely person. You are wonderful to talk to, but you're not in any way aggressive, right?
no,
You act nicely. And for this kind of thing that we're talking about now, for you will have to think aggressive. What you actually say and do, people would not consider aggressive, but to you, you would feel like you're being aggressive. It's just because you have to step out of your comfort zone and do what you think would be considered aggressive, but it's really not. For the rest of the people, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know he had those kind of backbone. Great, I'm going to take him.
oh yes, okay. But I'm just wondering what type of work is it? Is it just something similar to what I'm doing, or is it, is there should I be going down the healing side? And you see, that's the only thing I'm thinking of now is it the same work I'm doing in gardening, or is it something different?
I think it's in the same of what you're doing. I think you're not
Right.
ready to go down the healing route for career and money at this point. You have a lot more to go over these few months. Once this stuff happens for you, it's too difficult for you to maintain a new kind of business. So let's put it like this. The smart way to go would be to pursue bettering of circumstance in what you do, because that will take care of the money, that will take care of your basic needs, and it will give you status. Meanwhile, you can still pursue all this, let's call it more alternative things, until you feel at such a time that you are ready. I would look at you now and I'd say, I like the path you're on, but I don't think you're ready for that yet. And to do that means that to do that kind of changeover, you need to have a bigger nest egg than you have.
Okay. Okay, Kathy. That's perfect.
Okay, well,
Thank you very
great.
much for all your help. That's
Hey, you're
fantastic.
welcome. You're welcome. It was lovely to talk to you.
You too. You too. Have a nice day now.
You too. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kathy.
Wow, what an interesting person. And he's talking about things that challenge so many of us right now. You've got your health going on, you've got the economy with the way it is. Do you go for a new job? Do you satisfy yourself and just do what you would like? Is it a wise choice? Because, at the end of the day, money really does make a big difference. It's all very well for us to be spiritual and say, oh, well, it's okay, it will come. But, bills need to be paid, mouths need to be fed. So you do have to take care of basic needs before you can embark on some things. So that's always an important thing for all of us to sort of acknowledge. Okay, so we'll take our next caller. Is Clay there? Or have we lost Clay? Okay. We must have lost Clay. All right, 403, are you there? 403? Hello?
Hello, I called in last week, but I'm just listening this week, so I'm just putting you on mute. You can go off to the next person.
Sorry?
I called in last week. I'm just listening. I'm just trying to figure out all the Skype. So just go to the next listen.
Oh, really? Well,
okay?
You're here now. You must have a question. What is your name and where are you from? For everyone
I'm
who's out
Hedda.
there.
I called in last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Hedda. I called in last
Yes.
week from Calgary, but I'm just listening this week. I can have but why not? I would like to give an opportunity for somebody else to call in.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling, Hedda.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right. Otto. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Otto. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Latvia.
Sorry, Latvia?
Latvia, yes.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
Well, my first question is maybe I can help you or anyone else, like Andrew maybe, with something, I don't know.
I beg your pardon?
Maybe I can help you or Andrew with something. Because you're helping others, I thought maybe I can help you. That's my first question.
Oh, you know what? You've just blown me away. I don't think I've ever had that question. Thank you so much, Otto. I don't know.
Maybe there's something going on in the invisible world or something like that.
Well, I have to say, for us at the moment, we're just been very hectic getting ready for our big event. So I guess if there's anything you can do for us, it would be send some healing for me and Andrew, especially Andrew, to prepare him for his event. And, maybe send a healing for him in the future so that when he gets there, he is all bright and chirpy. That would be great. Yes, because obviously preparing for such a big event, there's a lot to do. And, I have to be honest, I get tired.
I can see why.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much, Otto. So what's going on for you?
So maybe can I ask my next question?
Yes, of course.
So my next question is, why am I reincarnated? Or what am I doing here? What's my goal?
Okay, well, I would look at that and say a lot of that question is probably related to the galactic historian. He's not on the show today, but what I could say about it is, in terms of why you're here, when I look at your energy, to me, it's like you've got a lot of lessons to teach people. You have such a great insight into so many different things, and I'd say that I would imagine that when you talk to people, sometimes it's almost like you're giving your opinion or your advice, and you don't really know where it's coming from, but somehow it seems right to you. And if they said to you, well, that sounds really kind of logical, what made you think that? You would actually not be able to explain where that came from. And to me, a lot of that is related to why you're here. It's because you have important messages for other people. You may not know it, you may not know why, but often you will find that you're telling people stuff or teaching people things that you have no idea why you're doing it. But when you finish, people would say, wow, thank you. You just came at the right time. Of course, there's some people who say, get out of my face, I don't like you. Because, that it's too much information and it's almost like you've, caught them naked. No one likes to be revealed if they're not ready. So you'd probably have both reactions. But either way, I would say it's good that you do it because people really need to know. And just because you in particular can't explain it doesn't make it any less true. Sorry, go on.
When I try to explain it, it gets really, really long. Like to get to the core of the point, it takes really long time to explain. Like my point, my train of thought, I would say.
Yeah. I would probably say to you, don't bother explaining that too much. Just say, I just know.
All right.
That's often the simpler and easier to accept explanation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And people often find that information very emotional, I'd say. So when you get people that do invoke, show when a lot, how can I put this? When you invoke a lot of emotion in people, especially let's say tears or anger, I would say that's the time for you to just step back. Not because you've gone too far, but because they now need to process that.
Mm.
Well, that's our music coming up for the break. Can you hold on, Otto, and I'll come back to you
Yeah.
after the break?
Yeah.
Thank you
Sure,
so
sure.
much. Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma. And today, Andrew Bartzis is not here. He is in preparation for the big event this weekend. So all things galactic will be next week. And also to say again, thank you so much, Laura Lee, for helping us do the show yesterday, charting your course as we are in preparation for the event this weekend. And she will also be doing this Sunday's Charting Your Course. So everyone that has been listening to her talk about her wonderful mystical tarot, the continuation will be on Sunday at Studio B. And for those of you that would like to contact me for a reading at the event, you can contact Tenoch at galactichistorian.com for an appointment. That's TENOCH at galactichistorian.com. So I will be there. Also, Debbie Smart will be there, and she is absolutely amazing. If you'd like to learn more about her website is innerdimensionhypnotherapy.net. And if you'd like to see her, also contact Tenoch. And then, I lost it. There was something else about the event, but it will come to me. If you'd like to learn more about me, you can have a look at my website, which is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K. So, Otto, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
That's fine.
So going back to, sometimes you evoke emotions in people, it's a good thing because they need to process these things. So when you do evoke strong emotion, I would say just walk off, just back off, because what you were supposed to do has been done and they need time to process that. So never look at the reaction they give you as a bad thing or even against you if it happens to be a negative reaction. One of the things that you're doing here is that you are teaching people, you are showing them as well what's going on for them. And that's always an important gift to have. Did you realize that already, or you just weren't that sure?
Yeah, well, sometimes people say to me that I could be a good teacher because that seems, it seems easy for them. How to say that? For them, it seems very. I'm getting a bit stressful here. So
that's okay. Just take your time. No rush.
So people say that I could be a good teacher because I explain things logically and in a way that they can understand them.
Mm-hmm.
And and I noticed that. About the emotion side, sometimes they get emotional, but I haven't really noticed that, except in my wife.
Good emotion or bad emotion?
Yeah.
One thing you have to also realize is that sometimes you might not understand the words that you say or the power that they have. So when you do evoke emotion in people, you may find it surprising, but that's okay. And it doesn't even matter if you don't understand why you even said it. The fact is that at that moment in time, they did need to hear it. I guess I should also quantify. That doesn't mean you can say whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah, of course.
But you know what I mean.
I sort of feel that if I give people my opinion or my sort of my neutral way of seeing things, that I might help them. Like by giving my opinion, I feel that I'm helping them in one way or another.
You are, because I would imagine that often you really don't know why you say things, and that's okay. When you're coming into this world with a challenge like this, it isn't easy. It really isn't easy, and you often don't really understand why you do things, but that's okay. It really is okay. I mean, when you say, people have been saying that you'd be good at teaching, I agree. I think you would. But for you to be teaching, let's say, wisdom out there, you really need to have more focus, because for you, you've got so much information that it would be chaotic to do it without focus. I would suggest you start writing things down in categories, the way your mind thinks. So let's say today you have 5 thoughts. You write them down, and every day for the next 2 weeks. Then you look at them, and then I want you to put them in categories. And then as things come to you, you will find that you start to fine-tune things, and a theme will start to appear for you. And when that theme starts to show itself to you, then you will truly understand what it is that you really resonate with in terms of what messages you want to impart to a group.
All right. The next question which I have, that's the most important, I think. Andrew has said a couple of times that it's kind of really bad to vaccinate a child. And because my wife is pregnant, I'm sort of thinking, should we do it or shouldn't we do it? Because it's a huge risk if we don't vaccinate our kid, and for example, he gets ill.
It's a challenge. I tell you, there are so many different opinions on this, and it's an issue that is close to everyone's heart. Vaccinations, it's a very personal choice. Let me put it like this: for me, myself, I would, but I am aware of why people say it's not good and why it's risky. But having especially lived in Asia and seeing some of the illnesses that are around and seeing people suffer, I don't think I would myself, I would rather go through some of the risks than see my child like that. So,
Well, what's happening in Asia then? If you could maybe go a bit more in detail.
In terms of you've got cholera, you've got diphtheria, you've got yellow fever. Even in some places, just as something as basic as the flu can take you out. So it depends where you live, what access to hygiene, cleanliness. And in the old days, for example, in Hong Kong, we had so many travelers coming in, especially on ships, that would carry things like cholera. Hong Kong itself did not have cholera, but you have a tourist or a sailor come in with it, and then bang, a lot of people are affected. A mosquito comes in, bang, and those, the mosquito carrying things were very rare cases, but it's not that it didn't happen. So if you believe you have access to the medicine very easily to counter anything that you think is coming in, then it's a different story. But often people are not living in places where they have access to a hospital very close by to them where they can get treatment should they fall ill to something like this. And then you have polio. Polio is still around, I had a very, very good friend that had polio when he was young. I mean, they never thought he'd walk, but he did. But how different would his life have been if he had had the vaccination? And the reason he didn't have it was not because his parents didn't believe in them. They just didn't know. They were not educated, and they didn't know that he could have it. and it was accessible and free from the government at that time.
Yeah.
But his whole life now, he's had to live with that. And, he's the happiest man I've seen, but his life would have been so much more enhanced had he not. And it was an avoidable situation. So
Yeah, I get it.
A lot of it is, I guess, number one, talking about what kind of vaccinations you're talking about, where you live, what access to medical help do you have if something were to happen.
Yeah, those are the things I have to think about, me and my wife.
Yeah. And, it's not just as simple as where you live. What countries are you planning to visit over, let's say, the next 10 years?
You never know.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's such a big topic that it's very difficult to discern which vaccinations you might want to consider or which ones, you don't need to consider. And what is your lifestyle? Where are you located? What is the overall hygiene level? What type of tourism is there? From which countries do these people come?
Mm-hmm.
It's not such a simple question in certain countries. Let's say if you were in America, it's very different because the hygiene level is different, the access to medical resources is high, and the incidence of people bringing in different illnesses is not as high as some other countries in the world. So you would judge it on a totally different set of values as you would if you lived in Asia or if you lived in Europe,
Yeah.
I'm being very airy-fairy about it because it's a topic that no matter what I say, some people are going to agree, some are not. And this particular issue comes down to personal choice. I could tell you what I would do for myself or my family, but that's a very personal choice.
Yeah. Do we have a time for one more question?
Yes, of course.
Well, my last question is, what do you think about the business side? Maybe there are some opportunities for me. Maybe I just need to focus my thinking on certain area of
You're
field.
currently doing a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And what you mean is it possible for you to do businesses on the side?
Yeah, to start my own business. I don't know, manufacturing something maybe, or to develop some service.
For me, I'd say, first thing, I would say in your own career, you will find later this year, earlier next year, you will have a bettering of circumstance. And what that means is you will get a new job offer, which is more status, more money, or you'll be offered some sort of promotion. So that's number one. So that's good. And
Yeah.
I would definitely stick with that because the income is nice and steady. And when
Yeah.
you've got a new family, it's always good to have that no matter what you do until you're
Yeah,
set
it's
up with
important.
something else. Yeah. The second thing in terms of let's call it side business on your own, there are two things that I'm really seeing. One is something that you make with your hands. Okay. To me, it's like you already have some sort of skill. Do you have a hobby that you work with your hands?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because recently I've picked up making things from clay. I would say I wouldn't say that I'm quite good at it, but it's just a coincidence.
Is there any such thing as coincidence, right?
Oh yeah,
Or is it just synchronicity?
might be.
But to me, it looks like something with your hands. I would continue with that. Let it morph into what it morphs with, because whatever you decide to do with it, whatever you decide to create, you can do a side business with. So have confidence. If you think you just started and you're not very good at it, just keep going, because whatever you create, whatever it is you decide to do with your hands, you will find that you can make a side business out of it that provides you a nice income. Right? And you would consider it easy, almost too easy. But sometimes don't question this. If it's
That's
easy
nice to hear.
it's good.
Yeah, sure.
And the other thing I'm looking at is going back to this teaching thing. it's like you have a lot of information to part. So what I'd say is what we talked about, start writing stuff down, because what you want to focus on, you haven't completely stumbled on it yet. When you can understand where your focus is on, what resonates the closest to your heart, you will start writing. So whether you want to put this in a book, teach it, blog it, whatever it is that you want to do with this, it will also succeed. But definitely it involves words and writing.
Oh, never thought about that.
Yeah, you think you don't write very well. It doesn't matter if you write well, you just write it down. You can always have someone fancy it up to make it sound better if you're not happy with it. What is important is the information that you write.
All right.
You know, and let's face it, when I look at you, there's a woman that close to you, so it must be your wife, who is good at flowery stuff. So
Yeah.
you write it, she can fix it up into flowery.
Yeah.
And then she'll probably be happy because then it will be part hers.
For sure.
In her mind.
Yeah.
But another thing, you know, as we're talking about these kind of little side businesses, one thing I want to tell you is that you are going to have a few unexpected bigger expenditures this year. So you really need to take care of your accounting. You know, whatever's not necessary to spend over the next 12 months, don't spend it, because you will have expenditures that come up. So if you have been more frugal with your spending, you can easily afford the expenditures.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you a lot.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for calling, Otto.
Yeah, thank you as well. Have a nice day.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, what an interesting call. Thank you so much, Otto. You've really shown us a lot. And I've never been asked that question, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've really made my day. All right, we'll move on to our next caller, 719. Are you there?
Yes.
What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Karen, and I'm calling from Colorado.
Karen from Colorado. What questions do you have today?
I have become associated with a brilliant person who has created holographic technology that it gets rid of pollution. It heals almost anything. It is astounding. It's the tech we've been waiting for.
Wow.
I am really astounded. Well, it's very hard to believe. It's holographic. It's a hologram. It's like a kid's little hologram sticker you pull off the wax paper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's impossible to believe it's effective. But I'm watching it. I mean, I put my drink near it. My drink tastes better. It's frequencies. So I'm having. I just did an event Saturday, and had a group of men say it's not possible. It's impossible. We are scientific people, and it cannot even happen. It doesn't work, and no one's willing to try it. So I'm wondering. What future do I see in this? I'm not going to give it up. This is the real deal. But very frustrating, and as I think you discussed earlier, we do have to live. We do have to eat. We've got to do all that stuff. So
let me ask you, just so I'm clear. So this is someone else's invention, is it? Or is it your invention?
No. It's an applied quantum mechanics physicist invention.
Okay, and then you you contacted this person. How did you find this?
Oh, I saw a little 2-3 minute YouTube showing an ELF meter, and this particular form of hologram arrives as a text message. You put it on your wallpaper on your cell phone, and I watched the EMF meter go down to 0 when you put it on your wallpaper. Punch the phone, undo, take it off the wallpaper, the meter goes all the way up to major ELF emissions. And of course, I have a daughter with one of those glued to her head, and I wanted her to have a brain left. So I immediately started scouring, and I found him, and I got introduced to that, and started testing it. I did become a rep, but I spent a few months investigating all of this and ordered a few items, and was astounded. I mean, I can hold one of these next to my fuel tank, and in 2 minutes, my exhaust turns to absolute pure air. You could sit there with your nose in front of your exhaust and breathe cleaner air than on either side of your face that's full of everybody else's exhaust. So it is truly what the heck we've been waiting for. I just, anyway, do you have any feeling on how well this can be received, or a means or an arena that I can take it to? We need this.
Okay, so you've discovered this. He's sent you the stuff, and now you're a rep for it. And you went to an event on the weekend, and some technical people poo-pooed it, and now
they're
you're
not even that technical.
Okay.
It's ignorance, you know.
Ignorant people poo-pooed it.
Yes. Yes, they did. Well, if one man would try it, all his buddies would. But nobody was willing to try it of this particular crowd. And I was like, wow. You're 2 feet from your car, and this takes 2 minutes, and you're not willing to try this? It's okay. It's hard to believe. I understand that. I didn't either.
Okay, can I ask you, what applications does this have in terms of sports people?
In terms of what?
Sports people.
Sports. He has healing holograms that he's already developed that have, one's got 18,000 codes in it. He's done all the algorithms for the frequencies, and another has 40,000 codes in it, and it will affect every organ of your body. But he also can do personalized work where you send him fingernail and hair samples. He can pull your DNA, read where you're short.
Okay, that's our music. That's our music, Karen. Can you just hold on? We'll come back to you after the ads.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and normally the amazing Andrew Bartzis, but today he is not here. The Galactic Historian is preparing for his great event this weekend, so he's doing all things galactic, and some of them are amazing. I was watching him do some of the stuff yesterday. Truly, truly amazing. And just to let you all know that I also will be at this event, as will Debbie Smart, who joins us on Charting Your Course show on Sundays. If you'd like to learn more about her, please check out her website, which is innerdimensionhypnotherapy.net. If you'd like to learn more about me, please check out my website, which is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K. And if you would like to contact Tanok, if you want to have readings with me on the weekend, please email him at tenoch@galactichistorian.com. That's TENOCH@galactichistorian.com. Because I'm very excited to meet everyone there, and I know he's been getting bookings already, so it's very, very exciting. And we're currently talking to Karen from Colorado, who's telling us about this great new invention. Karen.
Can I ask you, where is this event you were just talking about?
In Seattle.
Seattle, okay.
Yes, it's the Living the Mystical Life Daily. And Andrew will be doing it on Saturday and Sunday. Friday night is the registration. Very, very exciting stuff. We still have some places left if you wanted to consider to go. All you have to do is go to his website, andrewbartzis.com, and check it out. If you need any information, please contact Tanok at galactichistorian.com.
Galactic Historian, okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really very, very amazing stuff. And some of the stuff he'll be talking about blew my mind. I'm like, well, I didn't know that.
Oh, I've listened to his 20 part series of galactic history, and every time I listen to him, he blows my mind.
Oh yeah, and he's got a lot of crystal tools that will be on show, which are truly amazing. I mean, I stood next to some of them, and they're as big as a mixing bowl,
Oh, wow.
and
Wow.
heavy. Yeah, and I'm like, wow. I feel different things over different tools, and he'll actually have some for sale as well. And there's
Very
certain ones
good.
that even I'm not allowed to touch. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's like, don't touch
Yeah.
that one. I'm like, what? You're like a little child. The minute you say don't touch it, you're sort of creeping over to it. But he's
Well,
got
you
like
know,
eyes
those
on the back of his
crystals
head.
are, we know they're emitting their frequencies, but when you stick one of these holograms next to it, the holograms usually project about 8 inches. So you could put one between your drink and your dinner plate and beam it with all these healthy, wonderful things. But you put it with a crystal or hook it up to an LED light, like a disco light,
Mm-hmm.
and broadcast it in your whole room. Everyone in your room is being bathed in all of these frequencies. It's like a spa.
Wow.
So yeah, so I that would be very interesting. Hope I can. I'm going to try to make it there.
Ooh, that would be very
That would be
exciting.
very exciting. It sounds fabulous, and
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. And especially with what you're talking about, just with exposing it around all these crystal tools that he's got up there. Whoa.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm very much into this healing with the frequencies
Mm.
and the crystals. I have quite a collection myself, and it's it's our future.
Oh,
I,
definitely. And they really should be part of anyone's everyday life.
they should
Really.
be.
Yeah. All right,
I'm a
let's get back to
naturally
your.
healthy person, so I don't experience a lot of the things people do, and just feel very deeply for it. But I've raised children and had a couple of special needs stepsons for several years, and just they needed so much, and it took such little effort to help them. When you have an awareness of the frequencies, I did not have the holographic tech at that time. Wow, that would have helped. But it certainly had all the crystals, and well, we did our best, and we did a good job.
Well,
So,
we were talking about what applications they could have to sports people,
to
right?
sports, well, the tech absolutely in a product already prepared, 2 products in particular already prepared, definitely address every organ of the body, musculature, skeletal, teeth. It absolutely helps everyone, let alone those in sports. But he has, as I said, with a fingernail and hair sample, he generates the DNA. He analyzes the frequencies of the DNA, writes up the algorithms for them, and compares them to what is supposed to be optimal, and creates a personalized hologram to address those, I'll call it, shortcomings that he finds. He has, he's even done, there's the name slips me, it's a team of sled dogs in Alaska. They've sent in the hair samples and nail samples, and he has created holograms for this absolutely winning team of sled dogs. He has another fellow named Jason who's in a wheelchair, and he does the Ironman races, and he's a winner. and he's qualified now for the next one coming up in Europe. And he's he also is he's not an owner in with the he bought up all of the inventory from the inventor's earlier firm.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very, very much involved in that himself. So people are also doing racehorses,
right,
and improving their health with this technology.
I ask you about sports people because what I'm seeing is, for me, you ask the question, where can you go with this? What can you do? I'm seeing a market that I think you can really do well with, and that's golfers. That's why I'm asking about sports people, yes. Because I think whatever you can use, however you can use it to apply to golfers, golf techniques, golfers, because they have a lot of injuries all the time, which affects their swing, affects their game. If you can market it and show them that this can improve their golf game, they will buy it.
Very good. Very good.
Even if it comes down to putting it on golf clubs, that whole range. But this is your niche market that you can break into. And when you have success with that, you can go anywhere with it. But that's the market I see that you should definitely go. You can have success. You can use that as well to springboard off other things. But they are the market that would be open to this very much so. Highlight their swings, their injuries, and if their swings are better, they have less injuries, their golf ball will go further.
Well, and there's also holograms that invigorate you. They energize you. So that your attention and preciseness is improved.
Which is very good.
I think
because one of the big things, especially with golfers as well, is when it comes to putting, right? They get they get what they call the yips, I think it's called, where they just, can't help but twitch because they're so nervous.
Yeah.
But if you had something that could help them with what they call the yips, which every golfer has, even pro golfers that we see on PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So that's where you focus. Start with small, work it your way up, because I think you'll have great success with them.
Oh, that sounds so wonderful. And of course you hit on it, because I live in a part of Colorado Springs, and I live in the part of town that's right next to a 5-star opulent European resort hotel with its own private massive golf course, and immaculately groomed, and it is a center. In fact, it used to be where Peggy Fleming ice skated. It used to have the rink here, and now we have it in another part of town. We have the U.S. Olympics Center here in this town, national headquarters. So you really, I'm in walking distance of this place.
I've suddenly opened your eyes. We're speaking the same language.
Yes. And it's because it's like this event I did Saturday. The closed-mindedness. Well, I was offering this free to treat every fuel tank there, and you kind of have to be careful in a way, because I've got a factory rep one, and that darn thing will broadcast its this 30 yards. So conceivably, it's better for me to leave it in my car a couple of blocks away, and then say, let me run and get it, because otherwise I can't test, because they're going to say, oh, that's my car. My car's like that. Because who actually walks around and smells your exhaust?
It doesn't look weird.
Well, there's 78 toxins that were identified in standard fuel. And he has neutralized every one of them. The deaths by carbon monoxide poisoning can't happen. Won't ever happen if you have this. It just doesn't. That's pure. that combustion is clean because the toxins are neutralized. What it does is it changes how matter behaves. So that's what you're also imbuing your body with, is these frequencies that change the MTBE is in gas. It is a known carcinogen. They found that out. They took it out of our gas, put something else in. I don't know how many years went by before they found out, oh, it's worse than MTBE. So they put MTBE back in. That's neutralized. That is a carcinogen. We are breathing millions and millions of cars in our country. If everybody just put this on any combustion engine, lawnmowers even, pollution. Can you imagine? I mean, but people have to try it. When you see it yourself in 2 minutes, you go out there, that stinky old exhaust, makes you choke even, and 2 minutes later, your idol goes down. What would make your idol go down? And go back and smell this exhaust. It's good. You also get better gas mileage. And
okay, that's all you have to say.
Hopefully we don't have to have gas much longer anyway.
Well, it sounds like an amazing thing. I mean, wow. Where would people find this if they want to have one?
Well, I sell them at coloradoholograms.com. But if you have a real personal interest in it and you want to speak directly to the quantum mechanics physicist, his name is Thunder, and you go to Graylind, GRAYLIND.com. And if you haven't downloaded the free app yet, Ring Central Meetings, it's on that page. You can download the app, back button to his website, and click a little blue button that says live streaming. He has a secure online live streaming chat room. We call the sandbox. No bullies allowed, only nice kids can play. and you ask him directly your questions. He's Mr. Lake. The guy's got a 212 IQ. He's Mr. Laid Back, kind of long haired. Just he'll answer any question you have, and anyone can become a rep too, wherever you are, when you experience this, and you can experience it right then talking to him.
Okay.
It comes out of his screen. You could hold up. First time I just went to buy the EMF thing for my poor daughter's brain, and I'm going to hit every parent-teachers organization I can hit to introduce this. I hope to get it in all the schools. Our children are lost if they stay plugged into those phones. But that's my goal. That's one of my goals.
Right.
But
maybe one of the things that you could do is when our replay goes out, you can go to the YouTube and put some link there so that anyone who's listening to the replay or this show and goes to the replay, they can click onto it to find more information from you.
Thank you. Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, because often we get a lot of questions after the show, so it's good to have such an interesting thing. If you add the link there, then people can just look for themselves.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you this right now. He's got something out. He's calling the Graylind Challenge. He's not trying. He has a YouTube channel up, and he's not trying to have more YouTubes than anybody. He wants more YouTubes in one category than anybody. So he is offering this Graylind Challenge to anyone who will, and this is even done through a cell phone and that sandbox, his live stream room. He can give you directions. He can send you a text message that you put on your wallpaper and walk you through the procedures of turning on your motor, checking where your idle's at, walking around, smelling your exhaust. Go back in, sit in the car. As soon as the idle goes down, you might want to rev it at 2,000 RPMs for half a minute, because you're pushing all of the fuel that's in the lines above the fuel tank. You're pushing it all out, and then go back and smell your exhaust again. And it's pure. And he has a number of those videos up now. You can watch them, and everyone is, wow. And he did a 65 Corvette the other day that was wonderful, because he just, I'm sorry, it's raining like a son of a gun here, and my cell phone's giving me an alert.
Oh, yeah. Well, last week I had lightning and thunder that came through.
We've had some powerful storms on this planet lately. Yeah. It's, I don't know, CERN or whatever it is. But,
okay, Karen, what other questions do you have?
We're expecting some massive electromagnetic activity that's to wash over the Earth starting about now, but ending near the end of September. Or maybe it's the peak of it at the end of September. Do you get any feeling or feedback on how that affects people?
Do you mean in terms of spirituality, or?
Well, yes. I know scientists have determined that after a certain level of electromagnetic radiation, all biological organisms evolve. And it seems that we are at that period of time in our planetary history with this degree of waves coming at us, that's a possibility. But there's a lot of conjecture on that I read online of how it will affect us spiritually. Some are talking ascension. Evolution certainly seems possible, but that's not an easy transition. When you're bombarded so much that you evolve, we're not even talking.
Yeah, I think that what you'll find during this time period is that more than anything, on a spiritual and let's say metaphysical way, you will find that people are going to have some really, funky dreams. Like, your dream time is definitely going to be affected by all this. You might have some pretty way out there things where you wake up thinking, wow, I feel like I'm in the 60s. And it's going to be very difficult, a confusing time in that everyone will try to interpret a lot of what's going on in their own thought process, day-to-day weird things that happen, the dream time. And it will seem, let's call it a bit weird and wacky, a bit crazy at times, and chaotic. But what this is about is not so much that you need to interpret what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're going through, but just to experience the energy itself and understand that when there's great energetic change, there is chaos. There is things that affect our brain frequency, I suppose I could call it.
And so that would result in the chaos.
And when that happens, I think people very often, or too often, try to interpret what they experience too deeply. Sometimes it's the experience, it's like a realignment, it's a readjustment. You don't have to understand the chaos to just know that through the chaos, when you come through it, you have clarity. The actual chaos doesn't matter. So if you're experiencing really crazy dreams or really funky, weird stuff's happening, you don't really need to know why that is or what that means. All you need to know is there's some readjustment, realignment going on. And then when we've kind of all gone through it, you come out the other end and you have clarity, you have more focus, you feel more settled. It's almost like if you have a jigsaw puzzle in a box and you shake it up, it looks like chaos. You don't understand where all the pieces go. But when you put it all down and you put it back together, you see the picture. That's kind of what it's like. Yeah. I think
so basically ride out the storm.
Yeah, because
you'll read into it because you're in the middle of a storm.
Yeah, and you can't possibly understand all the little pieces. You just wait till you go through it, and then you put it together, and you don't even have to have known what those particular pieces meant. You can just build that jigsaw, and then you see a picture. And that's kind of how it is.
Wait for the clarity to hit.
Yeah,
because that's good advice.
Often people read too much into every single thing that happens during these kind of times. And I'm not discounting that experience, but you often can't find resolution or answers because it is chaos. And it's designed to be, I guess one way of putting it is if you can just expect chaos, don't need to understand it, but in the end there'll be clarity. That's kind of all you need to know, because when the clarity comes, you'll understand a few of the things that came out. But even if you can't understand how they came, as long as you have the clarity, kind of what does it matter?
That's it. So if your affectation is, and I hear this online too, what they're calling ascension symptoms, but I'm going to step away. I'm okay with that, but I'm going to step away from it and say that if we're being bombarded by frequencies that are foreign to us and that will actually cause us to evolve, if that is so, then the aches and pains that people are experiencing, or pressure on the head, or ringing in the ears, many of them flu-like symptoms. When you're feeling that for a long period of time, and if they are starting to bombard us, and we're going to the end of the month, September, that's a long period of time for those sensitive to it to feel badly, or to feel off. I'll just say off.
Yeah.
So I can imagine depression could set in.
But when you know there's light at the end of the tunnel and you have clarity, you can put up with a lot.
That's it. Yeah. This too will pass.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling, Karen.
Thank you. I very much enjoyed talking to you. I listened to your whole series about Ireland. I'm absolutely fascinated. I got a little Irish heritage myself. And very cool.
If you make it to the event, it'll be great to see you. And if not, please just continue to listen to us. Thank you for your